Hello, welcome to the lecture series on control systems engineering. In this session, let us learn how to create mathematical models of physical systems. So in this session, first we will define stiffness, mass, damping coefficient, force, torque, displacement, velocity, acceleration, inertia, and degree of freedom as connected with mechanical systems. Then let us learn how to represent a mechanical system using spring mass damper system, both in translation and rotation frame of reference. Then we'll develop differential equation for simple spring mass damper system arranged in different configurations. And we'll derive transfer function for simple mechanical systems. Okay, first, as a control system designer, you need information on how system respond to different stimuli. Means different types of forcing function. I have told you. In the right hand side of the differential equation, what appears is the forcing function. For different types of forcing function, how exactly a system responds, we need to understand that. Things that are important to a control system design include models need to account for system dynamics. They should represent system dynamics. Models tend to emphasize dynamic input-output relations and information on internal goings and parameter changes. This and parameter changes. Okay, this is and parameter changes. So our mathematical models, they can be in the differential equation model, or they can be transfer function model, or they can be state equation models, or they can be impulse response models, or block diagram models. So I'll concentrate differential equation and transfer function model first. Then probably we look into block diagram models. Then at the end, we'll talk about state equation model. Okay, state equation models. So once you have a physical system, as I mentioned earlier, you have to convert that physical system into a mathematical model. To convert mathematical model, we will make use of some laws of physics. Which are all those laws of physics that we make use of? For mechanical system, we'll use Newton's laws of motion. When we have electrical systems, we use Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law. When we are dealing with modeling thermal systems, we use heat transfer equations. Then when we are modeling fluid flow systems, we'll use laws of fluid dynamics. And if there are chemical systems, we'll use chemical laws for process control systems. Right? These are the laws. So this all we have studied in our earlier classes, and we'll make use of them and convert a physical system with the help of these laws into mathematical models. Suppose you have a mechanical system. So what are the basic dynamic elements of a mechanical system? Even if you take a simple pendulum which is oscillating like this, so what are those things here you have? You will have a mass, Correct? This mass always stores kinetic energy. Correct. Then you have spring, which will have potential energy. So here in this case, what's happening is this, sorry, I should draw a vertical line. This is oscillating like this. So at this point, when it is at this point, it will have maximum potential energy. Correct. Right? This potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy. Again, kinetic energy gets converted into potential energy. Again, potential energy gets converted to kinetic energy like this. Suppose if I introduce some kind of resistance over here, this energy gets dissipated, and that is what you call it as damping. So there will be a mass element, there will be a spring element, there will be a damper element. I think better let us assume that you have a car this way. Let me write the side view. This is, let us say, this is the car, and this is sitting on a suspension, which is a spring and a damper. Look here. Even if you consider a car, you can consider this is a mass element, this is a spring element, this is a damper element. Correct? Even any mechanical system, if you consider, take this, it will have a moment of, suppose you can just consider a shaft rotating in let us say in a bearing. Correct? So the shaft has a mass, shaft has stiffness, and here in the bearing there will be damping. So thus any mechanical system can be represented by a spring mass damper system. Okay, as I mentioned, mass is an inertia element and it stores kinetic energy, and spring is also energy storage element. It stores potential energy. When the spring and the mass are together, potential energy gets converted to kinetic energy, and kinetic energy gets converted to potential energy, and damper is something which dissipates this energy. So it is something like inductance, there is something like capacitor, and it is something like resistor. Okay, these are the basic elements of a mechanical system. Now let us define certain terms that are very useful for modeling of the system. So one is the linear displacement. So displacement in x direction, let me represent by x. Displacement in y direction, let me represent by y. Displacement in z direction, let me represent it by z. Okay, suppose this is x direction I am talking about. This is point A, that is point B. Okay, displacement in this direction, but from point A to B while moving, it has to move with certain velocity. That let me represent by x dot. That is nothing but dx by dt. That is velocity. If it is having an, okay, it is in the y direction, same way I represent y dot, z dot. I know you are aware of many of these things, but for the beginners, probably who have no idea about all these things, it will be useful. Similarly, acceleration in the x direction, I represent by x double dot. That is d square x by dt square. And the acceleration in y direction, I represent by y double dot d square y by dt square. And similarly, the acceleration z direction as z double dot d square z by dt square. Okay, a body is there, it is moving in this direction. So this is what you call it as a translational and that translational frame of reference, right? And those translation in x direction represented by x, y, and z, depending on which direction it is going. Suppose some body is rotating about a circle. Correct. So it make a displacement, angular displacement. Okay, that angular displacement let me represent by theta. So that angular velocity I can represent by theta dot, or that is nothing but theta by dt. I'll also represent by omega. That angular acceleration I represent by alpha d square theta by dt square. Okay. Okay. These are applicable for rotational systems, and these are applicable for linear systems. Okay. What is inertia force? Inertia force is mass into acceleration. So that is mx double dot. Inertia force always opposes the motion of a mass. This is what inertia force is. Similarly, for a rotational system, a rotational mass, what is the inertia force? This is, instead of mass, we use mass moment of inertia, J. In place of linear acceleration, I use angular acceleration. So angular acceleration is d squared theta by dt square, that I can represent by alpha. So J, mass moment of inertia, and alpha. Okay, right. How do we define damping force? Damping force, right, is, we call it as damping coefficient into velocity. Or damping coefficient is damping force by velocity. So what exactly a damping coefficient is? So let us understand something from Newton's law of viscosity. Look here, assume that this is a plate, right? So this is in the vertical direction. Let us say velocity of the fluid. Let us say fluid is flowing over this. Fluid is flowing over this. Velocity of the fluid at contact point is 0. So somewhere the velocity is so much. Velocity increases like this. So then you join all these points. This is what you call it as velocity gradient. I have not drawn it properly. So like this, like this. Okay. This we call it as velocity gradient. Okay. Now, any one point if you take, this is dv, this is dy. Okay, dv by dy. This is y direction. Okay, we say Newton's law of viscosity is the shear stress is directly proportional to velocity gradient. Let me consider this velocity characteristic is linear. So instead of writing dv by y, let me write this as v by y. So tau is equal to, you can say mu v by y. If I multiply tau with a, the shear area, then mu a v by y we can write. This if I write force, correct, this I can write it as c v. C is nothing but mu a y. Correct. This is what you call it as damping coefficient. Right? Damping coefficient I call it. Basically, because of the shear action, it happens, and there is viscosity. Because of this viscosity, the energy gets dissipated. That is the kinetic energy present in that. So that gets converted into thermal energy and gets dissipated. So damper is a device which dissipates this energy, and its damping capacity we can represent by this damping coefficient C. Correct. This is what exactly we do in automotive dampers. So using this idea, we design this and we dissipate the energy. So damper is this damping coefficient. You see here, you want to increase the damping coefficient value. You can see damping coefficient is nothing but mu A y. Even if you have a particular, let us say, fluid whose damping absolute viscosity mu is constant, by varying the shear area and this, correct, no? This y value shear area, by increasing, we can always vary the value of C. That is damping. It is basically, it dissipates energy. So basically, it all happens because of the viscosity of the oil. Okay. So damping force is damping coefficient into velocity. That means to say, suppose I have a mass and I have a spring and I have a dash part here. So which velocity I am talking about? Suppose to this mass is having, let us say, a displacement z, and this rod will have a velocity, say, z dot. I am talking about this plunger velocity, right? So here I can make holes, I can create shear and make the oil fluid flow this way and this way. I can create that. This is what exactly a damper is. Okay, that is damping coefficient, a damping force by velocity. So spring is defined as spring constant, force by displacement. So spring force is spring constant into displacement. In a linear system, you can define like this. If it is a rotational one, then the torsional stiffness constant, then instead of force, I should use torque. Instead of linear displacement, I should use theta. Correct? If it is a rotational system. Suppose you know that you have studied about shaft T by J is equal to G theta by L for a shaft. Correct? Torque equation. So here T by theta is equal to Gj by L. This is what I can call it as KT, torsional stiffness. Okay, torsional stiffness I can call it. So what is this spring stiffness, spring force? Again, if you take a rod like this, okay, so subjected to load like this, then if I draw stress by strain for this is Young's modulus. What is stress? Stress is nothing but normal force by area, and strain is nothing but deformation divided by original length is equal to what you can say E. So then you can say FL delta A is equal to E, you can say. Force by displacement, this is what I can call it as K. Sorry. So this is what I can call it as K. So K is nothing but AE by L. What is A? A is the cross section of this rod. E is the Young's modulus. L is this length of this rod. So I can find linear stiffness of that. Okay, that is stiffness. So you understood what is torsional stiffness. Okay. So we call it a spring constant and all that. Already I told you about in K is equal to AE by L and KT is equal to T by theta. That is nothing but you can say here T by theta. That is nothing but Gj by L. Okay. So you must understand now linear displacement, linear velocity. How do we represent? Linear acceleration, rotational displacement, rotational velocity, rotational acceleration, inertia force for linear displacement, inertia force for a rotational mass. Then what is damping force? So again, here for a rotational system, damping force can be written as damping coefficient into angular velocity. Damping coefficient, now it explained that what is spring force, what is spring constant, all these things. These are all necessary while modeling mechanical systems. Okay, mechanical system. Right, so now let us come to this transfer function part of it. I have already told you, defined as transfer function of a linear time invariant system. LTI systems we are talking about. Linear time invariant system is Laplace transform of the output to the Laplace transform of the input. Correct, input variable. Assuming all initial conditions in the differential equation to be 0. That's a very important thing. Okay. So once you have this transfer function model, then whatever expand, we can solve this and we can find its response behavior and other whatever requirements are there, the system stability and all such things, it is possible to analyze. Now let us look at a transfer function of spring mass damper system. You see here, I'm just giving a rough example like this. Say it's a car, correct? Okay, it's like this. From the side, if you see, this I call it as sprung mass. Okay, let me represent by mass. It's sitting on 4 springs. Let me say an equivalent spring of that is this. The 4 dampers, let me represent by this. 4 dampers. Okay. Now I want to study, let me represent this by K, this by C. Let me apply a force F of T here. This force coming, let us say it comes from the road. Okay, I can represent this car by a spring mass damper system like this. It's not only car, any mechanical system, mechanical dynamic system can be represented like this. Okay, that's what I said. The basic modeling elements are mass, spring, and damper. Mass stores kinetic energy, spring stores potential energy, and damper dissipates energy. This I have explained earlier. Let us write the differential equation for this. So this is the problem I have given. Correct. Let us draw the free body diagram. This is mass. When I apply a force F of T, the spring stretches. But the stretched spring tries to come back to its original position. So if you see, it pulls the mass upwards. So spring force should act upwards. That's what I have shown. Similarly, when I pull this offers a resistance in this direction. So damping force should also act in the opposite direction. Whenever a mass moves in one direction, the inertia force always opposes that. So inertia force should also oppose this motion. So I've already defined inertia force is nothing but mass into acceleration. Damping force is damping coefficient into velocity. And the spring force is spring constant into displacement. And force is acting downwards. Now please know that you just, for your remembering to avoid making mistakes, like when you come across such a system, see how many connections we have. One physical connection, 2 and 3. And whenever there is a mass, we will have inertia force. So you will have number of connections number of connections plus 1. This plus 1 is inertia force. If mass is not there, this inertia force will not be there. So thus there are 4 forces. See, another thing is this force is the one which you are applying. All other things are resistances which oppose this motion. So F of t is acting downwards and all other forces are opposing this. So once you create this free body diagram, then correctly, then we can easily write the differential equation. So now come to the differential equation part. You see here, first you write mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to f of t. X double dot is nothing but d square x by dt square, c dx by dt kx. You got a second order differential equation. Now you want to get the transfer function. As I mentioned, you have to take Laplace assuming all initial conditions to be 0. Please, such mistakes are there. Conditions to be 0. Then this becomes, you see, m d square x by dt square is nothing but s square, c s x of s, and then k x of s. X of s I have taken out common. Laplace of f of t is f of s. So x of s by f of s is 1 by ms square cs plus k. You have got the transfer function. And you see, highest power of s in the denominator, it is 2. So it is second order linear mechanical system. Okay, this is how you have to find the model, transfer function model and differential equation. Okay, right. Next, let us look at how to do it for a rotational system. Imagine you're rotating something, a drum you are rotating. To this drum you are connected, let us say, shaft. Assume that there is an electric motor here. This motor will apply a torque T on this and make this drum rotate. So now how to write the mathematical models of this? I am not considering motor now. Only the torque part I am considering. Now how to write a mathematical model for this? So since it is a rotational one, instead of mass, I have considered mass moment of inertia, that is J. The input force is torque, right? Fine. Now there are bearings and all, that damping is, let me represent it by F. And this shaft, whatever it is we have, its torsional stiffness, let us call it as KT. And instead of x, theta is the angular displacement. So now let us draw the free body diagram. free body diagram. So we are applying torque in the clockwise direction. It is the force. Okay. And to this J, inertia force opposes the torque. As I mentioned, the inertia force is given by J d square theta by dt square. That is mass moment of inertia into d square theta by dt square. Already have explained this to you. Similarly, damping coefficient is the damping force is damping coefficient into angular velocity. Similarly, torsional resistance or stiffness resistance due to stiffness is kt into theta. These three are the forces which are opposing its motion. So I write j d square theta by dt square plus f d theta by dt plus kt theta is equal to t. Correct? Applied force. You got a second order differential equation again. Now you take Laplace assuming all initial conditions to be 0. J, this becomes s square theta of s, this becomes f s theta of s, and kt theta of s, you'll get t of s. Then take the ratio output by input. Theta of s by t of s is equal to 1 by j square plus fs plus kt you will get. Now it is again the highest power of s is 2 here, so it is a second order system. Second order, it is a rotational system. Correct? Rotational system. Hope you have understood now. So we'll move on to the next example. Now I made this problem a little more complex here. What is the complexity now? I have two masses. Now again, let us look at your car. From the back, let us see your car from the back. This is your sprung mass. This is suspension. So assume all four will spring and like that. So damper. Let us say these are sitting on the axle. Okay, this is sprung mass. This one. And this one unsprung mass. This car, again, this is sitting on 4 tires. Tire can be represented by spring. Again, if there is damping, I can write a damper. Okay, the same car I can model like this now. I can get more details. In earlier model, I was not at all considering this unsprung mass, the tire and all that thing. Now I am considering. That's how you get problems like this. Okay. So now it has 2 degrees of freedom. To find any position, you have to define y1 as well as y2. y1 is the displacement of this mass m1 and y2 is the displacement of this mass m2. Okay, now we have to write one differential equation connected with this mass m1 and another differential equation connected with mass m2. Correct. Now let us write the differential equation with mass m1. As I had given certain hints earlier, let's see the number of connections here. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1 inertia force. So there should be 4 plus 1, 5 forces. Okay, that is one thing. Mass m1 is moving in the downward direction. Here there is no external force, all are actually resistances. They oppose the force, oppose the motion. So there should be 5 forces, all acting upwards. So let us come to this one. You can see here that is first one is this one. So I have written the displacement shown here is y1. So it is k1 y1 and that force acting upwards. Similarly here F1 y1 dot, correct? That is the force. Then M1 means inertia force. I have shown M1 y1 double dot. Now let us come to this spring K2. Please observe, in this spring one end is fixed, only one end is moving. So exactly the displacement is, suppose this mass M1 moves by y1, the displacement of the spring is also y1. But in this case it is not like this. This end is also having a displacement y1, this end is having a displacement y2. So I should take, both are moving in the same direction, I should take net displacement. Let me assume y1 is greater than y2, then the net displacement is y1 minus y2. So whenever you are analyzing M1, you assume always y1 is greater than y2. When we substitute the numerical values, that will take care of the direction. So K2 y1 minus y2. Similarly for this F2 y1 dot minus y2 dot. Okay, I have got all the forces for mass M1. Come to mass M2 now. There is one connection, second, third. So there are 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 4 forces are acting. Out of 4 forces, this is acting downwards. That is an applied force. So I have shown that applied force here. The remaining 3 must oppose the motion. So here M2, I should write this displacement is greater than displacement. So K2 y2 minus y1. I write K2 y2 minus y1. For this I write F2 y2 dot minus y1 dot. And inertia force is M2 y2 double dot. This is not absolute motion I have shown. This is not relative. So M2 y2 double dot. Hope you have understood this. This is how once you have drawn the free body diagram, absolutely writing the equation will become easy. So now write the equation 1 connected with mass M1. First you write M1 y1 double dot. Then you can write, you see here, there is F1 y1 dot and F2 y1 dot. Both are acting in the same direction. So I'll write F1 plus F2 y1 dot. Similarly, there is K1 here, K2 here. So K1 plus K2 y1 I write. Next, here we have F2 y2 dot, that is minus, and K2 y2 again minus. So F2 y2 dot minus F2 y2 dot plus K2 y2. No force is acting downwards, so it is 0. Now if I take Laplace, it is M1. This should become S square by 1 of S, assuming all initial conditions to be 0. Then F1 plus F2, then this is S. K1 plus K2, this is Y1 of S. So I'll taken out Y1 of S here, common. Minus F2, S Y2 of S, then K2 Y2 of S I have taken common. So it is equation 1. Connected with mass M1. Similarly, connected with mass M2, let us write. First, let us collect Y1 terms. There is no Y1 double dot term. So Y1 dot term is there. That is F2 minus F2 Y1 dot. This one. So minus F2 Y1 dot. Then minus, you see here, K2 Y1 is there. Sorry, K2 Y1 is there. So these are minus. So minus sign I have taken out here. 10 plus. Then you have M2 Y2 double dot, F2 Y2 dot, then K2 Y2, and downward force is F of t. Again, if I take Laplace for this, you will get this. Okay. Now I have to get Y1 by Y2. So for that, what you can do is, suppose A1x plus B1y C1 Let us say a2x plus b2y is equal to c2. You want to solve for x, then you can replace a1 a2 by c1 c2 b1 b2. This Cramer's rule, divided by a1 b1 and a2 b2. Okay, so now you consider this is a1, correct? This you consider it as b1, this you consider it as c1, this you consider it as a2, this you consider it as b2, this you consider it as c2. So you replace a1 a2 by c1 c2 because we are solving for y1. That is nothing but 0, nothing but 0 and f of s. That's what I have written. And this one as it is, that is minus f2s plus k2 and this m2s square plus f2s plus k2. Okay, then this is a1 b1, sorry, correct, no, a1 b1, correct, a2 and b2. Now this into this will become 0, minus of minus this will become plus f2s plus k2 into f of s, that f of s, sorry, f of s I have taken here, y1 of s is here. Then this into this, I have got this minus into minus plus, plus into minus minus f2s plus k2 square. You see here s square and s square when you multiply s to the power of 4. Highest power of s is 4. It is a fourth order system. Fourth order system. Okay. Now if you want to solve for y2 of s, come here. You want to solve for y2 of s. Only thing is you keep here a1 a2. Here you make c1 c2. Denominator will remain the same. Then you can get y2 of s by f of s. Okay, that's how you can get the transfer function of this kind of systems. So here I have just given a note. I think it is just something thumb rules, you can say, for understanding, so that you may not go wrong like this. I have written that count the number of forces acting on a mass. Indicate the direction of all the forces except the external force in a direction opposite to the direction of motion of the mass. Then take absolute displacement and absolute velocity for the spring and the damper respectively when one end is fixed and the other end is moving. Take relative displacement and relative velocity for the spring and the damper respectively when both the ends are moving. Assume y1 greater than y2 while analyzing m1 and y2 greater than y1 while analyzing m2. It works. That's all the thing. These are the thumb rules. They help you to formulate differential equations very easily. Now let us look at another example. Okay, here again your two masses m2, m1. Okay, it can be a train. You can say bogie 1, bogie 2 like this. Okay, car 1 or car 2 like this. In between we have spring and a damper connection, and these are wheels. So I'm just modeling them. Suppose all of a sudden if I break, what happens? We can study such kind of things later. So now I have given all this. Now I want to write the differential equations. So now what you do is you take this part for m1. Okay, m1. How many connections are there? 1, 2, 3. Here we have 4 plus 1. There should be 5 forces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forces. Out of that, F of t is the external force acting outwards, as shown outwards. All other forces should oppose the motion. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here it is relative. There is a displacement here, displacement. So it should be K1 x1 minus x2. Yes, done. F1 x1 dot minus x2 dot, done. Inertia force M1 x1 double dot, done. This is, there is no relative here. This is, ground is fixed. So F1 x1 dot, yes, I have shown you. Okay. Now come to this mass M2. When you come to mass M2, how many forces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1. 6 forces should be there. There is no external force. All should oppose the motion. They should all act in this direction. So you write here K2 x2. Right, sir. This should be F2 x2 dot. Yes. Inertia force M2 x2 double dot. Then this is relative, so K1 x2 minus x1. This is F1 x2 dot minus x1 dot. Right. Then this is F2 x2 dot. So you got all the 6 forces. All the 6 forces. Now let us write the differential equation for this, then for this. As I mentioned, all the x1 double dot, x1 dot, x1, then x2 dot, x2 double dot, x2 dot, x2, then force. Organize in this fashion. Here also you organize. Now you are solving for x2. Replace as per the Kramer's rule this terms by this term by this term and this term by this term in the numerator. Yes, that's what I have done. Okay. This is A1. This is B1. A1 C1, no? Sorry. Okay. So, right. So now the question is, once you have organized, this into this will become 0, this into this will become f of s, minus of minus will become plus, and you will get the transfer function, which is again 4/3. Good. Now in this case, already have explained you this. Sometimes in vehicle dynamics, we call it as a quarter car suspension mode. What do you mean by quarter car? Take this car, cut into 4 pieces like this. And this is the quarter car. So whatever mass that comes, sprung mass, that we write here. Whatever unsprung mass comes, that we mark here. And it has one spring, one damper, and the tire stiffness. So for that we write the differential equation. That is what we call it as quarter car suspension mode. Now we know this, how to write the equation. I think there is no need for me to explain. Okay. And right. So here only thing is damper, I am representing it by, please, B. It's the only thing is B is the damper. Ks is the suspension stiffness and K1 is the tire stiffness. Okay, you will get that equation and write the equation. Okay, fine. Now something like this. Here I am giving displacement as input. Okay, now if I write here, this mass inertia force should oppose this. I have written this. This is K x naught minus xi for this side, right? And this is damping force F x naught dot. Now if I write like this, I will be getting x naught as output and xi as the input, just to model displacement in terms of displacement is in place of forces. Again, this is an interesting thing. You divide the numerator and denominator by m. You will get k by m, s square, f by m, k by m. This root of k by m is called omega n. We call it as natural frequency of the system. Okay, if you know the stiffness mass, we can find natural frequency of this. So that f by m, let me write as f by fc into fc by m. This is called critical damping. So you take the system, if you disturb it, it will start oscillating. But if I go on increasing the damping value at a particular point, it will just stop oscillating. That limiting point is what you call it as critical damping value. So that f by fc into fc by m. This f by fc, actual damping by critical damping, we call it as damping ratio. That is damping ratio. And critical damping is given by 2 root mk. So m, then you will get root of k by m zeta omega n. So now this f by m I can replace by 2 zeta omega n. And k by m, this k by m I can replace by omega n squared. So now x naught of s by xi of s, that k by m is omega n squared, s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n squared. We call it as something general form of second order system. Second order system. Remember, this is natural frequency of the system. This is the damping ratio of the system. Okay, this C or F is simply damping coefficient. Sometimes the damping coefficient is represented by C, sometimes by F, sometimes by B, depending on the textbook they represent. Okay, so hope you got it now. In this example, the whole thing is like there is no mass here. I have assumed it is massless. Obviously, then there is no inertia force. So then I have drawn the free body diagram, assuming m equal to 0. Then you have got the equation like this. So x naught of s by xi of s is equal to k divided by fs plus k. Now you divide numerator and denominator by k. You will get this. That f by k, let me represent by tau. That I call it as time constant. It will have unit of time. Later we'll study its significance. This is called time constant. Or I can say F is equivalent to resistance and 1 by K is equivalent to capacitance. So RCS. RC can be represented by time constant. So now x naught of s by xi of s, you got 1 by tau s plus 1. This is basically a first order system. Okay, first order system. It is characterized by first order differential equation. Okay, this is time constant. Okay, now you can practice these examples on similar lines. I've given a number of examples for you. This is for your practice. I hope you have understood how to develop differential equations, also transfer functions for mechanical, linear, as well as rotational systems. Okay, so please work out these examples. This will become very easy to understand. Thanks. Thank you.